Good evening, everybody. This is Greg Cowboys 1964. Randall Sliper is beside me at the top, and Robert Little, BSO Sports and Entertainment. How are you tonight?
Oh, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm doing great. I'm excited. I get excited every draft season. I always like to see these young men and where they're going to go and who's going to be the next stars, of the league.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm not happy with Brugler, McShay, Kuiper today are all telling me that my Cowboys are not going to be picking 12. They're moving up to number 6, and they've all got them taking Sonny Styles at 6.
Can't be mad about Sonny Styles.
Yeah, I mean that.
Sonny Styles.
You're mad about giving up some capital to go up. Well, that's the combine for you. The combine. I honestly think is something that it can boost the player, can also hurt a player. But I never really took too much stock into it. But, you see someone like Sonny Styles that for a long time was in the top 10, 15, 20 range. And he goes there and you realize what a physical freak he is, right? To me, that doesn't make him any better than, what he was. I mean, I thought he was excellent, beforehand. But that moves, people up, whereas if some guys don't, test well or something like that, it can move them back and you can potentially get a better player falling in the draft because, they didn't run a 4.1140 or something like that. Oh, they're running in shorts and T-shirts and stuff, but they're not fast on the field. So you really have to take all that with a grain of salt.
Oh, exactly right. I mean, Randall and I just did the Epic Mock 26 draft here over the weekend, and nobody wanted to trade up to the 12 spot. And all those defensive players were gone. All of them. So am I going to reach for a Thieneman or something like that? Not a chance. I took Kenyon Sadiq because he was my number 10 player on my board. That's it.
Draft good players.
Right? Exactly. You have to be ready to go the best player available, just like they did with CeeDee Lamb. And that's why
I tend to agree. Yeah, I tend to agree with I know there's different type of need base and things like that, but I always tend to agree when you get to your number and you look at your board. And I mean, if there is some separation between the need and the number one player who you have left, I think you take that number one player and figure it out, later. We've seen that work more than saying, oh, I need a guard, so I'm going to take a guard 20, picks higher than someone that could be, elite at whatever position they're in, because football has become a lot like basketball where it's almost positionless. This is not where the X receiver always stays on X, or the corner is always at the corner, or the guard can't play tackle, or the running back can't play the slot, or the safety can't be the linebacker, and the linebacker can't be the edge. If you have a creativeness enough with your coaching staff and you have a talented person, you can make a lot. That's why I think Caleb Downs, whoever gets him, you're going to be getting potentially the best pound for pound player. But because he's a safety, you're going to get him at a farther back. But he's going to have the impact to me as if you drafted almost a quarterback.
Well, yeah. I mean, I really like the position list, because if you look at the Super Bowl, Seattle's corners had about 3 pressures and 2 sacks in that game coming as a cornerback because of simulated pressures and creepers and things along those lines. That's 3-4, like McDonald's defense is positionless defense for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that I think you have to. I say coaching in football, maybe more than some other sports, because there are so many people on the field. You can't skirt on coaching because you can scheme. You can scheme. Yeah. I mean, Samuel Darnold, was not great. Wherever he gets to, Seattle, he gets to Minnesota. Good head coaches that are known, for good coordinators that are known for handling quarterbacks. You see somebody like Malik Willis. You would think that he was going to be out the league if you watched him in Tennessee, He goes to Green Bay, he gets under LaFleur, and then all of a sudden, this guy's looking like he could be a quarterback that could be a starter in the league. So coaching, along with drafting, along with evaluation and scouts, kind of all goes into it.
Oh, absolutely. I want you to tell everybody about your book.
Yeah.
I want
Speaking of the draft.
That's right.
Speaking of, I have a book. It's the best way I explain it, the genre I call it is sports noir. So it's a murder mystery thriller. Like a James Bond or a Jason Bourne. But just imagine if those individuals weren't military, ex-cops, assassins, but they were sports people, involved in that. So the key character in the book, Maxwell Powers, he is a retired NBA basketball player that started out in the league, real hot. He was a champion, rookie of the year. He had some downfalls with drugs and gambling, and it ends up, kind of being pushed out of the league. It's kind of seen as a cautionary tale, but he has a unique ability to see patterns and to solve puzzles, kind of just like a point guard would, in the NBA.
Yeah.
Then when his friend, who just happens to be the Super Bowl winning quarterback that year, a quarterback athlete that he mentored when the athlete was younger, he's in a hotel room after winning the Super Bowl. He wakes up. There's a dead woman in the hotel room, and he doesn't remember how she got there. And the first person he calls, he doesn't want to call the police because, if he calls the police, the headlines are going to be what they're going to be. So the first person he thinks is calling is his old friend, Maxwell Powers, to help him try to figure out, what's going on. And then our story, basically takes off from that. So you could just imagine in the real world, if Patrick Mahomes was found in a hotel room with a dead body and he called Allen Iverson to help him out. That's how the story.
Now you got one of my favorite NBA players, Iverson. I loved Iverson as a player, but and of
I
course,
love that.
And of course, your Super Bowl was not a Dallas Cowboys, so okay.
I'm sorry, yeah. I mean, I could have said Dak Prescott, but he's not married, and my guy's married.
Yeah. There you
go. He didn't quite make it to the altar.
But I mean, it's an interesting title.
I like the cover. Like, I'm looking on the website; it's set to release next year on Super Bowl.
Yeah,
week.
during Super Bowl week.
Cool.
So I will be Super Bowl's in LA. I'm in LA, so we're gonna do a big release. During that week, a full release, and then the pre-orders are actually going to be available starting the first week of NFL season in September. So we're going to be doing a lot of promotion and things for that, and I'm hoping that sports fans and literary fans and things like that will really get into it, because I don't think there's been quite a book exactly kind of like this before, trying something really new and really different. We really hope it blows up, because there's an entire series that we have, in mind, if we can get this first one really off the ground.
There you go. That's an ideal thing. And again, who would be the guy that's going to star in the movie?
Probably Michael B. Jordan.
There you go.
Nice.
I thought this out. Michael B. B. Jordan. We have a casino boss that's in one of the characters. I was thinking maybe The Rock, if he wasn't doing anything. I was thinking Gabrielle Union. We have an ESPN reporter that's in it. That would be good for that. Hey, if Margot Robbie is not doing anything, we have a female police detective that is trying to put our guy in jail, for the murder. So it definitely has aspects of it that we do think can be, turned into a streaming series or, a movie, because like I said, we're trying to do that Jason Bourne, that Mission Impossible type of feel, but within the sports world. So, it's always, I think Ballers is a good, example or something like that. But, with a little bit more of that Lincoln Lawyer type of feel to it.
Okay, because I also saw you tweet out here that you're a fan of The Night Agent, as I am.
Yes. Big fan of The Night Agent.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love those. I mean, I read the book. So I'm a big book reader. And now all of these books are being turned into series. So I always watch the series. I started reading Jack Reacher when I was probably in college. That kind of started my, book reading. So yeah, so when they come out on Netflix or Amazon, there's so many streaming services now.
Oh, exactly.
I try to, watch the series and stuff because, sports, is one thing. Sometimes you gotta get your mind off what's going on in sports and just, have a little release.
Well, yeah, sports and even in the entertainment world. I mean, I keep seeing all of these people whining and crying about all these people going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rock is a separate category. Roll means something different. and if you people don't understand that the roll includes, if you don't understand the roll part of rock and roll, I'm sorry. I've complained bitterly because I grew up here in Canada, although I lived in the U.S. for many years as well. But Rush was a huge act. They belonged in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They belonged there, and they finally got in. Iron Maiden finally gets in this year.
Oh yeah,
But again, everybody is whining and crying about this guy going in, and that one isn't in, and da da da. Oh,
isn't that how society is now?
Always judgmental on everything.
Everything. Yeah. I was watching. I was watching what you would think would be something unproblematic, like the WNBA draft, right? So I watch it. So I'm just watching the draft, like, oh, that's nice. And she's getting drafted here, and then I look online, and it's like there's bombs being dropped, and people. Oh man, I was like, what is going on? It's just a draft. Like why is like you said, everything now? It just can't be. Oh, I'm happy for them. I hope it works out. It has to be an argument. You can't even go online and say, something's nice outside today. What's nice about it?
because I'm an old guy, I think the WNBA trophy needs to be named after Cheryl Miller. That's who Carroll Miller should be recognized, and that should be the winner of the WNBA championship. Yeah. And it's great that it's great that she's going to be on NBC this year covering the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's fine and dandy. But wow, I was attacked by so many kids 3 years ago when I said Cheryl Miller should be the.
And that doesn't seem very problematic, but of course,
no, not at all.
Everything is.
I wish whoever was the first person to invent a burner account should be crucified at that point, because everybody anonymous on social media is just brutal for it.
Well, it's so funny because those are always the people that talk about free speech.
Yeah, right.
But they don't have the real names, no picture. You can't identify them. But they're always the ones that you can say whatever you want to say without repercussions. But but their name is John 999666662 with a donkey as their profile pic.
Oh yeah, and it just amazes me. You are a Buckeyes fan.
Yes, alumni.
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. I did not go to Notre Dame, but that's so of course we both hate that school up north.
Of course. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Even though ask Randall, where did I have Will Johnson last year on my cornerback list? I had him very high, did I not?
You did. Yeah. You still didn't say the name of the school, but yeah, you put him there.
Exactly. And more this year, I have as a highly rated edge and all this other good sort of stuff as well. So I'm fair. About this.
Now, reluctantly fair.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
But when the Cowboys drafted Mozzie Smith and Luke Schoonmaker in the first and second round, I was just, are you kidding me? No. I mean, it was just, I knew Mozzie Smith was not going to be a good NFL player. I just knew this. Now he's with the Jets, thank goodness. But we still got.
He was riding his high school prowess.
Oh,
he was. You're right.
Again, because Feldman had him on his list of freaks.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted a player, the guy that went to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the next round, Keanu Benton, should have been the guy that should have been taken. And that's just my bottom line of that. But hey, which one of the Ohio State Buckeyes this year, because they're all going to go high, except for Styles' younger brother.
Yeah.
Which one of those is going to be the guy that makes the biggest impact?
Yeah, I think if you want to say impact and also, probably safest, is Caleb Downs. Especially the way, like we talked about, they play defense. Even when you go back to Alabama, he just literally transformed what was a leaky, Ohio State defense for some of the previous years with Ryan Day to two defenses that could have, won back-to-back national championships. They were that good, and he was kind of the anchor, of that. Now, Arvell Reese that's a potential, pick. And it's always scary with potential picks, but that ceiling is high. That's mansion ceiling, that's 10 feet ceiling, high. So that's very important. Where he goes, I think is important, in the coaching. I think with Carnell Tate, I don't know if you're going to get the same as you've gotten from, JSN, Emeka Egbuka. I don't know if he's at that level. I think he's going to be a high end, maybe number 2, wide receiver, but dependable. Chris Olave, ish. I hate to put Garrett Wilson in that because of his quarterback situation, but he's going to be solid if not like on that Justin Jefferson, level, but someone that's going to be good. And then I think Sonny Styles, once again, it's a fit, situation. I think this is a guy that came from safety down to linebacker. He wants to play fast. He wants to play downhill. I think someone that won't go probably in the first round, but will be maybe more productive in the NFL than he was with us. Max Clare, the tight end. We used a lot of 3 tight end sets. We didn't throw to. You have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. It was not a lot of targets left for the tight ends, and we used 3 of them. But I can see him actually being better, for his year at Ohio State. And then Caden McDonald. You need guys in the middle that can be disruptors, and he is another guy that I think that he's leaving Ohio State, and there's still room to grow. And that's maybe one of the best things about Ohio State is a lot of these guys, they've been at certain schools and they're there for 4, 5, 6 years, and they've peaked. You're what you're getting is the inversion of them. Whereas most of these Ohio State guys are been there for 3 years, and because of all the talent, has only started maybe a year and a half or 2 years. There's a lot more, meat on the bone, with them. And so when you taking them, they're younger, and there's more opportunity to grow. So even someone, that's had a lot of experience like Caleb Downs, he still came out as a true junior. That would have had, 2 years of eligibility left. He's young, and you get more value for your buck that way. No pun intended.
And the thing that drives me nuts are these comparisons that people are making now. Is that Sonny Styles is not going to be Fred Warner? Well, Fred Warner is Fred Warner. Sonny Styles is his own individual person. Stop trying to do these comparisons to these guys just because they're the number 1 guy in the league. Sonny Styles has his own playing style. He's not a copy of Fred Warner, period. Right? Yeah. Caleb Downs is a smaller version to me of Darren Woodson. That's who he reminds me of, is Darren Woodson. Because Woodson was smart.
Yeah.
And by the way, Robert, safeties are the smartest men on the football field, okay? But just so you know. Safeties.
Smarter than the offensive. I always thought the offensive linemen were the smartest.
No.
No, the safety.
I was a safety.
I don't pick this fight with Greg on podcast. I'll just accept it that he
I played wide receiver when I was in high school, so I was just a diva.
There you go, right? But
speaking of that, I got a question. As a Buckeye alumni, how do you feel about Brian Hartline finally making his way out of Ohio State? And do you think that there'll be any wide receivers that you're going to miss out on because of Hartline?
Yeah, it's yet to be seen as we kind of go because when he left, we were just trying to wrap up Chris Henry Jr., which we end up getting. We end up getting a couple of other guys that look pretty good. I think we have Cortez Hankton from LSU come in. We really have to see. Ryan Day believes that while Brian Hartline was obviously an excellent recruiter, excellent wide receiver coach, that it's the totality of Ohio State that are bringing these guys, into it. They see Jeremiah, they see Emeka Ibuka, they see JSN, they see Marvin Harrison Jr. and this pipeline that we have. Now, can the pipeline, keep going? I think a lot of that depends on the success that the guys that we have maybe after Jeremiah Smith leaves. I mean, be honest with Jeremiah Smith could have probably went to the NFL after his first year and been top 10, pick. So having him for 3 years is a blessing. So what happens when he's, gone? Does Chris Henry take that next step? Does we got Brock Boyd, someone that's talking about? Does he take a step? Like, does the pipeline keep going after Hartline? And did Hartline leave with that promise that, hey, if Ryan Day ever decides to go to the NFL or decides this is just too much for him, and because coaching at Ohio State is like,
right,
how it is. It's like being a Dallas Cowboys coach or being a Yankees coach or things Duke coach or whatever. There's a different level of pressure, that maybe burns you out after 10, 11, 12 years, and Ryan Day's up getting close to that 10-year mark where we've basically burned out coaches. So does Hartline come back? Under that preference that, hey, if that job ever does come open, is yours, for the taking. So this year is going to be interesting. Our schedule's much harder than it was last year. The defense we have 51 new players because of all the transfer portal, stuff. I think the offense is a little more experienced because Julian Sand is in his second year, and I think we got good defensive guys now. But this is not going to be a cakewalk. But the expectation at Ohio State is never going to be 9-3. It's not going or 10-2. That's never going to be a good year for us. It's always going to be, are you in the playoffs and did you beat Michigan? And those are the two things that really only matter to Ohio State fans. And there will not be any excuses, no matter schedule, transfers, or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. I got high hopes for Kenyatta Jackson next year.
We. It's tough. I mean, you're talking about replacing potentially 3 guys or 4 guys, if you count on the offense, 3 guys on defense that can go in the top 12,
right?
And a guy and a wide receiver that's maybe top 10. It frustrates me because I'm like, how did we not win the national championship last year? Shout out to Miami. They beat us straight up. But that's tough. But something, the year before, they said the same thing, because, how are we going to, without Marvin Harrison, how are we going to do it without, this guy or that guy. So we had a young defense last year, and we ended up being the number 1 defense, in the country. So it's a reload situation, at Ohio State, and the high expectations are high.
Yeah, Christian Gray slipped on that one play, and Jeremiah was gone. That was it. That was the ball game, though. That was the ball game.
Yeah.
When Christian Gray slipped on that play, Jeremiah was long gone. That's it. Game over. Game over. That was it.
It's so interesting that in college football now, they're opening it up more. So more teams have an opportunity. I thought Indiana winning was good for college football because that simply doesn't happen, before the transfer portal, before NIL and stuff like that. So now your team, if you're Texas Tech or whatever it may be, your team is really only one billionaire away. And one good coaching hire away, for being, in the mix. And that's good. That gives hope to a lot of schools.
Well, Texas Tech spent more money than anybody else last year.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And who listen, if this book takes off, you're going to see me up there on the recruiting trail trying to offer, some Lamborghinis and stuff like that in Texas they get every year.
Well, And Notre Dame keeps bringing back these kids of their superstars. Bettis Jr. They didn't bring in Fitzgerald. They do have Devin Fitzgerald, but of course they didn't have his father. But again, they bring in these young kids, and they just got Julius Jones's son, who's also a DB, who's coming now. I mean,
Little Fitzgerald has like Larry's mannerisms. It's weird to see him on the field. It is wild.
It is absolutely insane to watch that young man. I mean, everybody said everything was the same thing with Martin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how you know. I said that's how you know when you're getting old, when the juniors start showing up. Like, and he's like, wait a minute. I remember the original.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I remember when I started in journalism, I felt like I was more in tune with the players because I was young, like them. I was in my early 20s, mid 20s when I started. So I felt like kind of a kinship with the people that I was covering. I felt like I covered a certain way because I understood where they were coming from because I was coming, from the same places. But as I've gotten older, it's like, man, I understand now, like what it's like to just covered your father, when I was young, and that makes you feel like that you. I mean, it also lets you know that you've done a good job. You're still in the business and everything. But yeah, seeing the juniors come and then actually go to the league and things like that, and seeing your school because I actually went to school like. I wasn't there when Lorenzo Styles' dad was there. I was there a little afterwards, but it's so close that you're like, man, I was just a couple of years after your dad, and now both your sons are going to the NFL. How cool is that?
Oh, it's absolutely cool, right?
Yeah, very cool.
Mr. Bill.
Is he talking to his dog? Because I always have to do that when I'm doing an interview. My dog is always jumping on stuff.
Our third final mock.
Okay, no problem.
There you go. Right. Yeah, Bill Carroll.
Bill Carroll
for our final mock. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Most trades.
Yeah, he's not going to be available tonight.
I was saying, he's standing by. I understood.
Yeah.
not a problem. And normally nobody calls me during the show, right? It's just I look at it's Bill. Oh yeah, here we go. So I had to answer that one.
I can go through his mock because I figured out what trades he had. I had to decipher his final mock, so I think I got it down.
Well, I'll tell you, Robert, the Dallas Cowboys are taking Caleb Downs. In my mock, right. Caleb Downs comes to the Cowboys at pick 12. I don't have them moving up like everybody is saying, right? Well, yes, Randall, you have us moving up higher as well, but that's okay. What player did
in a fair trade, not an egregious ESPN trade.
Yeah, exactly. Although McShay's deal kind of interests me because it leaves us with pick 20.
Right.
Right? It goes up to pick 6. So we give them 12. We give them 92, which is our third round pick. And then we give them a 2022 second round pick. Oh.
Yeah. See, I said 12, 112, your fourth, and a 2027 third for 8.
Yeah. So either way, as long as I don't mind moving up if that's the case, especially if Sonny Styles is going to be if it's for Sonny Styles, I'm in.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
If it's Caleb Downs, I'm in. But those are the two guys that the Cowboys both need. They need both of those guys, right? Either one of them.
Stop it. I think they now.
Yeah.
Sonny Styles has 0% missed tackle rate in college. Sign me up.
Yeah. And I think both of their personalities are. I think you have to be a certain type of athlete to play for the Dallas Cowboys. You have to have a really strong mental to play for the Dallas Cowboys because it's different. It's different than playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think those two have the type of mentality that nothing is going to phase them, and playing under such a media and fan spotlight is that's not something that's going to, bother them. Where you've seen players in the past, it gets to them a little bit. And it's affected, the way that they play, on the field. And so I think when the Cowboys do draft players, they do have to, unlike some other teams, I think they have to take, that, into effect. It's like playing for the Yankees. It's a certain temperament that you need to have to be able to handle that. Because if not, it'll just eat you up.
Yeah. Sonny Styles' dad seems like the most disciplined person in all of the NFL.
Oh yeah, those two boys were taken to the woodshed, and if they messed up, I don't think they enjoyed going to the woodshed with their dad.
They were running with parachutes at like 4.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that man is a serious man.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have a lot of trades going on for this?
I feel like trades happen as you see who falls and who goes. So
Yeah.
I always find it hard to try to predict a trade because there's always a team that does something unexpected. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
oh my God, you just never know. And then you say when that team does it, it normally is a domino effect. Where everything is kind of going the way you think it's going to go, and then something happens out the blue, and then maybe the other team says, "I didn't think this guy would even be available, to us." Or you get to I think more trades happen in the bottom half because you're like, who do I feel like I can get this 50-year option on if I move up a little bit, as opposed to trying to take them in the second round. I think if you are I always say, if I was the Raiders, I would trade the pick. I honestly believe that. I feel like when you're picking number one, and it's a quarterback, you really have to feel that quarterback is generational. I think like you have to feel like that quarterback has certain skill sets that he is indeed going to be, Patrick Mahomes or Dan Marino or whatever it may be. And if you're just taking a guy number one just because he's the best quarterback in the draft, as opposed to the number one overall player, I think I don't like that, So I mean, unless they think that Mendoza is better, I feel like you could fall back. What if, like you talking about Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs? What if somebody gave them the type of deal to where they can get 2 picks, in the top 15. And now you can get, some, because it's never, the quarterback has always been an issue somewhat with the Raiders, but it's normally their overall talent level that's been an issue. They're just not, defense is normally bad. The offensive line, like they don't really have a lot of talent. So if you could use the number one pick in a year where I don't think there's really a franchise quarterback and stockpile a bunch of picks, and just in case it does go to hell, you could potentially be in the same position next year where you have a much better option at quarterback. That's something I would consider if I got the right deal.
Well, again, I don't see anybody else who needs Mendoza more than the Raiders do.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money on their team, especially because they thought that they weren't going to have Max Crosby. So then they spent all that money. They won the center trade, which was great with the Ravens with the free agency, and then then they got them back. So I do think that I like Mendoza. I think Mendoza can be a top 15 quarterback within the next 2 years. I think he's a very high IQ kid that really wants to learn, Tom Brady-esque, if you will. Like I have physical limitations, but I'll win with my brain type of quarterback.
I think quarterbacking in general is more upstairs than athletic.
For sure.
And so, but that's one of the hardest things to, I guess, evaluate from college to pro. Because the speed of the game and the processing of the NFL game is so much faster. There's really no way to replicate that like you can for a running back, seeing a hole, or a wide receiver doing a route, or a defensive lineman. Like, it's very hard to know what's upstairs and how someone's going to handle that. And a lot of times what we see is the athletic ability and the mental ability have to catch up, to each other. You've seen it with Josh Allen. You've seen it with Lamar Jackson. They have all this athletic ability that can carry them into the mental part starts to kind of catch up, to it. When you're just mental, let's say like Fernando Mendoza, you better hope that catches up real fast, because the physical limitations then, if it doesn't, are going to become more pronounced. Because you don't have the type of arm where you can make a mistake, but you throw it so hard you can overcome it. You have to be intense. And that's what Brady, I will always tell you, is the way he processed was his superpower. And that overrides, physical, stuff. So Mendoza looks the part. Like, he has that type of work ethic and things like that. And some of that is just, studying and doing it. But that's why I always say backup quarterbacks are the best guys on TV, because they can see it on the film and they can, express it to you and they can talk it to you. But when they got on the field, the processing, the brain didn't work the same. So that's why they're good on TV, but not necessarily with starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
No,
Great point.
See, this is the thing that I've always said. Okay, everybody last year criticized me when I said Shedeur Sanders was not going to be picked in round 1. Everybody was after me. I said Shedeur Sanders backs up way too much. He's a back. He goes backwards. No, you cannot win at the quarterback position by going backwards, especially in the NFL. You have to be able to set your feet, go into the line. You have to be able to release that football at that point, and you have to be able to take a hit. That's why Drake May was so successful this past year. He steps up in that pocket, and he takes hits. But boy, he found his receivers. Right?
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah.
I think that is something when we talk about the transition from college to the NFL, something that Shedeur did that he could be coached out of. So I don't think that was a detriment enough to keep him out of the first round, in my opinion. Because if we're talking about this year's class and Ty Simpson's going to probably potentially go in the first round. Why would he go in the first round with limited starts, a poor end of the season, and he's still getting the chance at a first rounder when Shedeur's, in my opinion, was flawed. His flaws were coachable.
The NFL is still a very racist league. Hello.
Well, I thought Shedeur was a back end, first rounder.
Yeah, same.
High second rounder. But the flaw that you see is the flaw I think everybody saw is that his line was so bad that he had a little PTSD. He had PTSD. But you would think that, like you said, that was something that was, coachable. Fifth round was just like when it got to the second round, I'm like, okay, I understand. That does happen from time. I mean, shoot, Lamar Jackson was a 32 pick. We seen Geno Smith so we've seen it happen, with Will Levis and stuff. But once it got like to me, there was nothing on film that I would say, oh, well, Dylan Gabriel or Tyler Shuck or anything like that was better than Shedeur Sanders. So it was kind of odd to me that these quarterbacks were kind of going ahead of him, But then he goes to the worst possible spot, in Cleveland, where you don't really, that's kind of a cluster that's going on there, which goes back to one of my original points about getting drafted. Sometimes, everybody wants to be drafted high, right? But as the draft goes along, I think it's much, 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 much more important where you get drafted. Like I was looking at some of the mocks, and one of the mock had Carnell Tate going to the Browns and the USC wide receiver going to the Chiefs. And that's 4 picks apart. But that could be basically the moon and earth apart in regards of potential opportunity, better, organization, second quarterback, contract. Obviously. So I know there's money, involved in 5 and 9, but man, you really have to think if you asked them, like you could go pay for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, or you can go to Cleveland. Now you're going to be giving up, $5 million, but your career trajectory is probably going to be a lot different. So, I just hope that when these kids get drafted, that they get drafted and they're not lame duck coaches that they're going to, and that they get kind of coached up.
Oh, see, and this is one thing that drives me crazy about these older NFL coaches being the guys who pick players. You have no idea how the college game is being played. You're way too old now. I don't care who you think you are. Jimmy Johnson, when he had success with the Cowboys at the beginning of his draft cycle, was because he had just come out of college.
Yeah.
And that man understood the college game at that point, and he loaded up those Cowboys. I mean, loaded them up. And and now we see Christian Parker, who's a 34-year-old DC. Yes, he's never done the DC job before, but this guy's reputation is such that, whoa, okay. I mean, and that's why I want Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs on that Cowboys defense. Those two guys just absolutely fit the bill. They fit the bill. And again, your DC, Randall, Jim Leonard.
Yep.
He uses more dime defense.
For sure.
Right? Than what Christian Parker would call, which is more of a nickel defense.
Right.
So if you're a good nickel player, and I think the 49ers were pretty good in nickel last year. I believe.
Yeah, just
That's
a
why
little
I
bit.
want. That's why I want one of them.
Right. That's the trend of the defense now, is getting somebody like Caleb Downs, a la Kyle Hamilton,
Yeah.
who is in Seattle right now that I cannot. Nick Emenworry. Caleb Downs is one of those guys. Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina could be one of those guys. Stuff like that, where you get that hybrid, and then you make him run around the field and do everything that you don't expect.
Well, which is why when we did the epic mock, and I watched Jim's guys talking about my picks, and I'm going, you guys don't understand. This is the needs of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
They don't get what the Cowboys really needed. And Jalen Kilgore was my pick at 92, right?
Right.
Julian Neal was my pick at 112. Okay, so I've got another safety. I've got a corner. I took Kenyon Sadiq because that tight end position needs another body. You can't have a guy averaging just 4.9 yards a catch. Hello.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, yeah, I like Kilgore. Me being 5 miles away from University of Arkansas, Julian Neal is my guy. So
that's right.
Cannot complain about that.
But again, that's the whole thing. These guys were the best player available when I was picking.
Right. Agreed.
And that's how the Cowboys need to succeed this year. They have to go with the BPA, whoever it is, at their spot. Because if they don't do that, you end up with Mozzie Smith and Luke Schoonmaker.
Well, you need to get in that draft room with Jim.
Yeah.
Man, I really
I've been in that draft room. I did the tour.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me on. My wife is knocking on the door. She's ready to go on a walk. But no, I thank you guys. I mean, this was fun, and the draft should be fun. And if you guys want me to kind of come back after, once we know, where or who the Cowboys got, they got any Buckeyes, I would love to.
Sure, absolutely.
Perfect. I'll be excited for your buck too.
Thank you. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated and everything when it comes out.
Draft Central does every pick, so we're on for every pick all 3 days, right? We don't stop at the 100 guys like the big network do, and then they go what no, we give you the lowdown on every player who's picked.
That's awesome. That's all. I'll be sure. I will be watching.
There you go.
All right, guys. You have a wonderful night.
All right. Take care, Robert.
Bye-bye.
All right, Randall.
Let's get it.
Let's do the mocks.
Who's going first?
Let's do Bills. There he is.
Okay, you want me to run through it because I kind of got the trades down?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we'll go through the names and then we'll talk about them differently. But yeah, first Fernando Mendoza, QB, Indiana. I think we all have that 3. He's got Bills is very interesting, by the way. He's got the Jets taking Sonny Styles at number 2. That is interesting as maybe like a BPA kind of situation. Dolphins trade up from 11 to 3 and take Arvell Reese to get the edge. I guess, in a 3-4, Arvell Reese as an outside linebacker, I guess, can work coming from the 9-eye. But I guess you put him inside and make him the inside linebacker off ball. That works as well. So he trades up. Saints take Reuben Bain Jr. in a trade with the Titans. Titans trade back. They take Reuben Bain Jr., jump on that. Giants go offensive tackle and Francis Muaga. Browns go David Bailey, edge, Texas Tech. Washington, Mansour Delane goes cornerback. Then Titans in that trade back, they go Spencer Fano. They get their right tackle, versatile guy. Chiefs go Caleb Downs. Bengals go Vega Aino. That makes sense at that point. I feel like DB help is a little bit more important, but they obviously need to protect Joe Burrow at that point. Browns get Carnell Tate, even though trading back from 6 to 11. The Browns trade. Okay, this is it. The Browns trade from 24 all the way up to 11 and make their move to get Carnell Tate. So now they've gone to David Bailey and Carnell Tate, which is actually a great first-round draft for them. They still get their guy in Carnell Tate. And then what do you think about Makai Lemon and the Dallas Cowboys, Greg?
Love
it.
I would. Well, I mean, Makai Lemon was my number one receiver. I don't mind this, but again, how much ball is Makai Lemon going to get when you got Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, right?
Right.
I would much rather have gone with my guy who was number 10 on my list, because Makai Lemon is number 12 on my list. I'm going to take Kenyon Sadiq if I was in that position, because you look at all those defensive guys who are already gone, right?
Right. No, I feel that. I get that for sure. And then the Rams go Jordan Tyson. I think wide receiver kind of makes sense now with the Rams trading to get McDuffie, where cornerback was their biggest need. Offensive line is a need as well, but wide receiver is somebody they got to get next to Puka. The Eagles trade with the Ravens and move up to 14 and take Monroe Freeling from Georgia. They need a tackle where their tackle's aging, and Lane Johnson, everything along those lines makes sense. Bucks take Kenyon Sadiq. I think that's a popular pick where Kenyon Sadiq goes. Cade Otton is their lead tight end one. So then you put them in 12 personnel. Kenyon Sadiq's that guy. Giants take Peter Woods. That also makes sense on that interior to beef up that line. I like that. You got Sonny Styles and Peter Woods. Nasty front seven in New York in the Jets. Then you have the Lions take Caden Proctor. I think that's a popular pick with the Lions as well. I do buy the smoke that Dan Campbell loves Caden Proctor, to be honest with you. His versatility. Dan Campbell would set him up with a wide receiver screen, so that makes sense. The most surprising thing about Bill's first round final mock is Jeremiah Love falling all the way to 18. Hopefully, obviously, Bill will be on next week. That is a question I'm going to remember, so he could let us know why he thinks he's going to fall to 18, because that's super interesting for me. The Bears. Let's see. The Bears trade with the Panthers. They're at 25. They move up to 19 to take Jermod McCoy. He falls a little bit. They take that BPA cornerback. And then Avion Terrell. What do you think about that, Greg?
I don't mind Avion Terrell.
I like Avion Terrell. I think that's a good pick there.
Yeah, I don't care about his pro day stuff. I don't care.
Yeah, me neither.
I watched his film.
Exactly.
That's what I go for, right? Yeah. And yes, he does not fit the typical prototype of years prior for the Cowboys, but with Christian Parker, this man's already this guy's already said, if this guy's not the 6'3", 6'4" corner, I don't care. If he can play the position, which he can, well, Avion Terrell is just fine.
Yep, agreed. Steelers go with a wide receiver that they will put in the slot, even though I think he's inside, outside guy. Over at Casey Concepcion, that makes a lot of sense. Chargers go Caleb Lomu. That also makes sense. They need offensive line help that may be able to kick inside, because their tackles will be healthy in the coming years. So Lomu can maybe kick inside, I guess. The Ravens get back, but they still get Denzel Boston to have another outside X. That's a good pick by them. The 49ers now trade. The Cardinals have made it all the way to 24, and now they make it all the way to 27 from pick 3, which, again, that's question number 2 I would like to ask Bill, is 3 trades to get to 27. And the 49ers take Keldrick Falk, the edge, Auburn. Love that for them. You can work them inside, outside for the 49ers. They need to beef up that front line. Now the Panthers move back to 25. They took Caden McDonald, nose tackle, Ohio State. Beef up that. They have a great front 7. Now you have a run-stopping nose tackle for the Panthers, who basically gave up a lot on interior and outside runs, so that makes sense. Bills take Omar Cooper Jr. I love that. He's an inside-outside guy. That's what Brandon Beane is looking for. We get more wide receiver help. Can't complain about that. Cardinals take Ty Simpson. They move from 3 to 27. Got to learn what they gained out of that. But Cardinals take Ty Simpson there. He's a project that will sit behind Brissett, who's a great pocket passer with some mobility as well. The Texans have Max Ihenechor, offensive tackle, Arizona State. That makes sense. You can kick Ursary inside and maybe move him inside as well and figure out who plays tackle. You have tackle versatility and depth and guard versatility there. Chiefs take Colton Hood. They need DBs bad. I'm surprised. I kind of almost would take Dylan Thieneman here if I were doing Bills mock and give him a safety there. Patriots take Blake Miller to lock up that right tackle. And then Seattle takes Cassius Howell, edge of Texas A&M.
Okay. So Thieneman would have actually been my pick at 20 because
makes sense.
I think the Cowboys are going to be using 3 safeties.
Yeah, for sure.
So the corner, I'm not as concerned with, right? Here's yours.
All right. This one I have a little bit more knowledge on. Okay, Fernando Mendoza, we won't talk about that. Kirk Cousins is already talking about him being in the QB room. So there you go. I've got Arvell Reese to the New York Giants. I think that off ball for the New York Giants brings that spark to their defense, and he can work at that second level and pass rush production over inside linebacker, and that's why I think Arvell Reese goes ahead of Sonny Styles. Cardinals take Francis Mwaga. I will give credit to Greg there. Greg had him going to 3. I think I follow suit. I think that's perfect for what the Cardinals need to lock up a franchise tackle. I have the Titans taking David Bailey, the edge out of Texas Tech. I don't think Jeremiah Love goes here. I think the Titans should play smart and get better edges to beef up that defense. Make the smart move. Don't make the sexy move and take David Bailey there. I have the Giants taking Sonny Styles. They released Bobby Okereke, who was a Walter Payton Man of the Year linebacker. I think they want to fill that role with Sonny Styles. I love Sonny Styles. He's my number 1 player in the draft. I have the Browns taking Carnell Tate at 6. It falls into their lap. That outside X is exactly what they need. That's perfect for them. Washington now takes Jeremiah Love at number 7. I think that takes a lot of heat off the quarterback and his rushing ability, and adds to his rushing ability as well. When it comes to when you see Derrick Henry working with Lamar Jackson, same situation. You got to cover Jeremiah Love. Now that opens up your quarterback to make moves in rushing and throwing the ball with more time. Number 8, there you go. My first trade. The Cowboys move up from 12 to 8 because you have the Chiefs, Bengals, and Dolphins that all need DB help. You make that move up to 8. You send 12, your 4th rounder, and a 2027 third to get up to number 8. You take Caleb down to safety. You're welcome, Greg. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Chiefs. I was flipping between this. I'll talk about Jermod McCoy and his degenerative knee, how it might go back a half. I had Jermod McCoy here, but I have a Chiefs guy, great guy. He said that they're really in on Tyson, so I made that change. Went to Jordan Tyson. Of course, Rashid Rice is the slot guy. They need an outside guy. That's a separator for sure. Bengals just need DB help. You take the best cornerback available in Mansour Delane. Right there, that makes sense. It's BPA/need, which is pretty much perfect for the Bengals. You make the smart move in that way. And then I have the Dolphins taking Kenyon Sadiq. Their tight end room is a little rough. They shipped out Jalen Waddle, and you signed Malik Willis to $21 million a year. Who's he going to throw to? You kept Devin Achane. That's great. But you need some weapons to make sure that Malik Willis, who you have coached as a Green Bay Packer regime moving to Miami, you can't let him down by not giving him any offensive weapons in the first year. That's what happens when Geno Smith goes to the Raiders. You look that bad. So you go Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end right there. The Saints get to pull back, and they still get Reuben Bain Jr. I think Reuben Bain Jr.'s floor is at 12 no matter what. Saints get them at BPA. The Rams, I went with Spencer Fennell, the Utah offensive tackle. I think that's more a versatile piece where Fennell can play right tackle, right guard, and center. You have that ability to have that versatility, and he can learn, and then you just kind of plug and play for whatever you need because the Rams roster is pretty much relatively stacked. The Ravens, I haven't moved Vega from the Ravens for about 2 months now. I think that's a perfect fit for the Ravens. He's a Ravens pick. They need interior offensive line. You take him there. I have the Bucs taking Cassius Howell. This was not a recommendation, but also my Bucs guys say that the Buccaneers are very high on Cassius Howell. He's a Bucs edge, to be honest with you, with his bend and his speed. I think he opens up the interior defensive line with that, and he helps in that speed and bendy edge rushing, which I love that for the Bucs. I have the Jets now getting Arvell Reese, then getting Mekhi Lemon at 16 as a steal. They are beefing that up. That's a perfect complement to Garrett Wilson and Mekhi Lemon. I love that. And as I talked about before, I do buy the Lions' Caden Proctor hype. I think they love Caden Proctor. I think it's a good fit for them as well, being able to potentially kick in a guard to start and then going offensive tackle, or just plugging him in right into offensive tackle. I think both are an option for them, and they get to figure that out in the offseason.
And everybody needs to remember, Caden Proctor only gave up 1 sack this year.
Right. Once he lost his weight, he looked more mobile. He looked so much better in 2025 than 2024.
Yeah.
Vikings, this is between the Ravens and Vega and the Vikings and Dylan Thieneman. Those are the two that make the most sense to me, that I think that I could put in on FanDuel, that's who they're taking situation. I think Dylan Thieneman is perfect for the Vikings. They need DB help. That's a BPA matched with needs for the Vikings. I think the Panthers take Peter Woods, defensive tackle, to get that next to the Browns and the nose tackle and the 5 tackle. You put Peter Woods at the 4-eye, and you let him defend the run, but also slash the interior defensive line there. And then Greg, I have Keldrick Falk going to you at pick 20. I put him there because I believe that you can improve in run support, and I think you were 27th or 28th in run defense. Keldrick Falk, you can kick inside and also be versatile outside, get some pass rush outside, but also be able to defend the run inside when you guys are switching to a 3-4 as well. And what do you think about that?
Everybody forgets that in 2024, the man did have 7.5 sacks.
Bingo.
Yes, he only had 2.5 this year.
He still got pass rush.
He still got
pass rush shoes all day. You know, Steelers. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to say, I don't mind Keldrick Falk. And Schrager did say yesterday, that's all he's heard is Keldrick Falk is going to be a Cowboy as well.
Oh, okay. Cool. There you go. I'm a little smart there. Steelers, just like how Bill went Casey Concepcion, I went Omar Cooper as a more slot guy for the Steelers to get that 3 working. And then that wide receiver room is an incredible wide receiver room, to be honest with you. And then I have my next trade, my trade number 2. I have the Dolphins trade up with the Chargers. The Dolphins have an insane amount of top 100 picks. I don't think that they're going to sit on all those picks and just pick. I think they're going to move around to get the guys that they want. I think in the replacement of having now Kenyon Sadiq and then trading up to get Denzel Boston, because they're a little afraid that the Eagles might take Denzel Boston. They jump the Eagles. They take Denzel Boston. You have a great outside X. I think he fits perfectly with the Dolphins and Malik Willis's long ball, especially with Kenyon Sadiq's vertical speed as well. Those two now make that vertical threat. And now, to be honest with you, the Dolphins' offense is looking pretty good with Achane, Willis, Boston, and Kenyon Sadiq. So they solved their problem in the first round. Then they can draft what they want in the rest of the top 100 picks. I have Max Hennichor going to the Eagles. He has that versatility. He's a ball of clay, which that's exactly what the Eagles love to get in offensive line. Balls of clay that they can turn into what an Eagles offensive lineman. He may kick inside because he's so raw and new to football that he could maybe start as a guard and then be ready to kick out. None of these, and by the way, anybody that I'm saying that can kick in a guard, I don't believe that they can't make it at tackle. I just really like the versatility of these guys and the ability so they could start in their rookie year and then work their way into whatever position they need to. The Browns, Monroe Freeling ends up falling to 24. The only reason I think Monroe Freeling falls to 24 is because the Lions love Caden Proctor. So I think the Lions take Caden Proctor because they just love him. And then I don't think that the Vikings, Panthers, Cowboys, Steelers, Dolphins take offensive line. So there's a small dry spot. And then it kicks back up. And that's how Monroe Freeling lasts to 24. You have your right tackle. You get your left tackle. Now you have a wide receiver. Let's see what Shedeur Sanders can do in that offense. Bears, Akeem Mesidor. Honestly, I think this is my number 3 most common right there. Akeem Mesidor fits the Bears defense like peanut butter and jelly at that point. He's exactly how Bears pass rush runs. Akeem Mesidor is just an easy pick. They run up to the podium with that card on Akeem Mesidor. Bills take Casey Concepcion, Texas A&M, my guy. So I'm not gonna fret and say that I didn't kind of set up the draft to get Casey Concepcion. But the Bills, the most visited player in this draft cycle has been Casey Concepcion at 3 times. They met him at the combine. They did a private workout and they did a Zoom call, and then they did a top 30. He's the only one that's been visited 3 times. So I'm just reading the tea leaves at this point. But He is a 4-level burner, manufactured touches all the way to vertical speed, best man separator in the class, and best press releases in the class. Exactly what Buffalo and Josh Allen needs, because Josh Allen led in sacks, in career sacks this year, other than maybe, I believe, his rookie year. And that was a lot because our wide receivers could not gain separation. He had to hold on to the ball, and he made a business decision by taking the sack instead of going for a fumble. So we get that, which is perfect. I have the 49ers take Malachi Lawrence. I think he's a great DPR. The 49ers, the way they run their defense, he can kind of go pretty much ham and learn defending the run from those front 4 guys, which are so good at doing it. And he can be a DPR in the rookie year as he goes. It's a good fit for the 49ers. I have Caleb Lomo, offensive tackle to Utah over to the Texans. I think you put him at the left tackle, and then you make Ursary go into guard, and then he becomes a very good guard. You lock up that left side, which they desperately need, and I think that's a really, really good combo. I think that's honestly what the Texans should do. I'm not the GM, but that's what they should do. Jermod McCoy goes to the Chiefs. There's always a pick that makes everybody angry. They're like, how did he fall to the Chiefs or the Ravens? And right now it's Jermod McCoy at pick 29 because of the rumors of the degenerative knee. Typically, I don't take that into a lot of stock, but Jermod McCoy was practicing early in the Tennessee year this year, got shut down, took very long, didn't do combine drills, still was nursing the injury and things along those lines. And now the degenerative knee comes out. I think that is enough cause of concern to bump him down a half a round. So he falls to the Chiefs at 29. I have the Chargers taking TJ Parker. He's a great edge setter. He's 2024. He had 17 tackles for losses, 9 sacks, and 14 QB hits. I think you get that 2024 TJ Parker than 2025 when Clemson was a dumpster fire. They need some edge help outside of Khalil Mack style, so you get TJ Parker there. Patriots, Caden McDonald. They need another nose tackle. They might be saying goodbye to their one right now. So Caden McDonald right there fits in. They were poor against interior rushing. Caden McDonald does that from them. And then my final trade is the Seattle trading out to the Raiders. Raiders send 36 and 102 just to move up 4 spots at 32. They want to secure a 5th-year option, and they want to secure their right tackle. The Raiders spent so much money in the offseason, a lot on the offensive line. I think the only big thing that they need to fix to get ready for Fernando Mendoza coming after the bye week probably starting is their right tackle, and that is Blake Miller.
All right. So, Malachi Lawrence was the player that I picked at 27 in the Epic Mock Draft.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I did not steal that one. I gave you your flowers for Mao Noah. That's it.
There you go. But
yeah.
again, he was the player I took.
Yeah. It's a good pick.
So again, my guys. All right, we got Fernando Mendoza. I've got David Bailey going to the Jets. Then, of course, I took Maioa to the Cardinals. The Titans, I'll give them Jeremiah Love. Arvell Reese goes to the Giants. I think they need more of the outside linebacker help than they do the middle linebacker. I've got the Browns taking Carnell Tate. I've got Sonny Styles going to the Commanders. Reuben Bain goes to the Saints. Jermod McCoy goes to the Chiefs. The Bengals take Delane. I've got the Dolphins taking Malachi Lemon. That leaves Caleb Downs to me. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Spencer Fano does go to the Rams. Ione goes to the Ravens. I've got Cassius Howell going to the Bucks as well. And that's actually something that Jeff also mentioned to it when we were doing the Epic Mock. He thinks Cassius Howell would be the ideal fit for them.
Yeah.
I've got Tyson going to the Jets, Caden Proctor to the Lions. That's all three of us.
Yep.
So if you guys want a FanDuel bet, go ahead.
Yeah.
I've got Dylan Thieneman going to the Vikings. Omar Cooper Jr. goes to the Panthers.
I like that.
I think Bryce Young needs another solid target, and there you have it. Mm-hmm. This is a trade that I have. I send pick 20 to the 49ers, and the Cowboys go back to 27. They also pick up picks 127 and 133. And the Niners take KC Concepcion. I'm sorry, Randall. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've got Peter Woods going to the Steelers.
They got to get younger on that defense. That makes sense.
And he's a perfect candidate for their 3-4, I think. The Harbaugh coached team in Los Angeles, that guy that I don't like, but they get they what I just don't.
I know it's okay. Yeah, I'm just laughing.
His brother in New York, I'm fine with, but
yeah.
Then I've got the most talented offensive guard, physically speaking, and that's from all aspects of his physical side of the guy is Bisontis. I just think he would be a perfect fit for the Chargers because, of course, they've got their tackles. They've got their tackles, but that guard position is a little iffy.
He's a plug and play.
Yeah. I've got Keldrick Falk going to the Eagles. Monroe Freeling does drop down to the Browns. I think the Bears need the big run stopper in the middle.
That makes sense.
Caden McDonald. And then I gave the guy with 2 visits to the Bills, not 3, but 2, Denzel Boston to the Bills. And then I take the Canadian, Akeem Mesidor, at pick 27 to the Cowboys. I think the Texans go right to a guard. They don't need to play with a tackle moving to a guard. I've got them taking Emmanuel Pregnon from the Oregon Ducks. The Chiefs, you need something other than...
You really do.
You need something other than their one pass rusher that they currently have.
Yeah. Yep.
Zion Young is the guy. Caleb Lomu goes to the Dolphins, and that is so necessary. I mean, the Dolphins need help on their O-line as well. And Kenyon Sadiq fell down to 31. He goes to the Patriots. I know.
As a Bills fan, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And then I've got Kalen Rutledge, the Georgia Tech. That guy is just a beast. And you've already lost Kenneth Walker. You need somebody else who can open up holes for Charbonnet and their other running backs as well. Plus, Kalen Rutledge is also a very good in the pass game as well. So
definitely,
I've only got the one deal right now. I think I really don't understand the mindset that I'm hearing from so many of these teams, because I'm hearing the Cardinals want to drop out of 3. The Giants want to drop out of 5. The Browns want to drop out of 6. The Saints want to drop out of 8. The the Chiefs, are also talking about moving down from 9, right? Well, I don't know.
Who's going to do
it? Who's going to take these guys? Right?
I think you're right. I think there's not going to be a lot of trades. I don't think there's going to be a lot of trades. I think too many people want to move back because the cat was out of the bag 2 months ago when people were saying that the 35 to 90 is the heart of the draft. And I think it was consensus that people thought that. And when 32 teams think that nobody's going to want to trade up or back. They think that they can get their guy when they want him.
Yeah. You know, and I keep hearing the Cowboys being the ones that are going to move up. Well,
Caleb Downs, like, again, I'm with you. Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs is the only people I would trade up for. That's it. Like, if the Bills had pick 15, I would, because, and we're kind of similar in how our defenses are in, you know, positives and negatives. I would give a lot to get Sonny Styles if I was at pick 15, 13, 12, and Caleb Downs as well.
See, I mean, Sonny Styles, why did you go to the combine? Why?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it just made you way too good.
Because I mean, he was the consensus pick for the Cowboys at pick 12 before the combine,
right?
And then boom, he's going to be a top 5 guy. That's it. Okay, no. But when I watched him on film, he would be the guy that would be the green dot guy. Bottom line. But again, I also love Caleb Downs.
Yeah, same. He as we talked about, Caleb Downs is the guy that defenses want to make their defense versatile in packaging, creepers, pressure, different kinds of pressures and things along those lines. Him being able to run around the field. Like I think we're entertaining, Buffalo's entertaining that with Cole Bishop. If we can find a free range safety that has good range and let Cole Bishop run around the field and do a lot, that gives the opportunity for him to be like Caleb Downs.
Oh, exactly right. So we basically covered the first round. I really don't know how this draft is going to end up being. Nobody does. I mean, whoever does these pools and things like that, I just think they're insane because you don't know who's going to be drafted. You don't know who's going to be traded for and all this other stuff. So I don't participate in that. But again, once you tune in next week to live NFL Draft Reaction Show for Team NBS Media here, we will be on all 3 days.
We'll be in suits day one.
Yeah, all that good sort of stuff. So that'll be interesting. And that was our mock drafts.
There you go.
So we'll see everybody next Thursday night.
Go Sabres. Go Sabres.
Well, there you are. Are. Well, it's been a little while since those guys have been in the playoffs.
14 years.
Yeah.
They're not going to know what to do with themselves in Western New York. It might be like 70 degrees in Western New York while the Sabres are in the playoffs for the first time in 14 years. Like, the jail is just going to be full.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember when they lost to the Flyers, and that was such a painful series to watch because of the fog and all that BS that they had.
Oh yeah.
It was horrible.
Western New York heartbreaks. The Dallas Stars with the crease.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. It's just Western New York. We have the thickest sports skin known to man.
Well, mine has gotten pretty thick over
I bet. Yeah, for sure.
31 seasons as well.
Right. Good point.
Do you buy into this thing, though, that so many people are saying the Cowboys are 2 defensive guys away from being a Super Bowl contender?
If you get the right guys, I do think so. I think the way your defense operated last year was promising enough to where I wouldn't say 2, I'd say 3, but the 3 is just a guy that you can plug in. So as long as you make the right choice on that third, so if you get a good edge rusher, if you get a good linebacker, and then you get a corner that can compete in day 3 or anything along those lines, I think you can easily take the NFC East and then go from there without a doubt. Like, I would project. I think the Eagles are going to slump a little bit because there's too much drama centered around them. They're probably going to ship AJ Brown. Giants need a year or 2. I think you can easily run with the NFC East, and I think you could make that run in the playoffs when it comes down to it.
I'd really hope to be in an NFC title game.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the Super Bowl. I'm not.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Just give it. Let me like think about it. Right. Yeah.
I want to be in the NFC Championship game.
Right.
You know, we played in 14 of those suckers.
I know. Yeah. You'll get there. You're on the right path at least. At least you know that there's a correct path, right? Like 3-4 years ago, you had Micah Parsons on podcast, and it was just drama central. Jerry stayed out of the limelight this offseason a lot more than he has. It looks like the direction is going the way it's supposed to instead of the theatrics, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's the theatrics that just drive me off the deep end.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know,
right.
I mean, when he came
Let
out,
your employees do their job.
Yeah. like when Jeff and I were both just absolutely beside ourselves when Stephen and Jerry were saying Tyler Smith is a left tackle. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Right.
He's a guard. He is a guard.
Right.
Do not leave him out at tackle.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
and he's
100%.
An excellent left guard. You know?
Exactly.
And he's got his second contract. Thank you.
Yeah, they got to listen to us once in a while.
Oh, yeah. So don't draft anybody from that school up north, okay?
Yeah, there you go. It's only one school out of like 375.
Yeah. Indeed. All right, Randall. We'll see you next week. Everybody else, take care. We'll see you guys Thursday night for night one of the NFL draft.